Hey Libra, Ali from Indigo Ascension. I'm going to be doing your July 1st to the 15th reading. Yes, I know it is incredibly late. However, all time is fluid. This message is timeless. But because I've been very slow in uploading the videos for the zodiacs for the first fortnight of July, I'm going to do a reflective reading, okay? So connecting into the energies you may or may not have been experienced in this first fortnight. But you will also be getting your 16th to the 31st reading posted on the channel within the next week, and your monthly is already up, okay? Ascension symptoms affect us all. I needed to take some soul time to receive a lot of downloads. I was getting a lot of downloads. Okay, my lovely Librans, what I'm doing with the zodiacs for these readings is connecting in. So the energy I was connecting into gave me the vision of you floating on a raft in the middle of a lake, in the middle of an ocean, a massive body of water. And I was very warmed by the sun. Now take this message however it resonates. It can be cryptic. It can be sort of symbolic. I mean, it can be practical. Maybe you've been spending a lot of time out in the sun. Maybe you've been spending a lot of time meditating and just relaxing. But I could hear that you were aware of things going on in the distance, you know, the voices. It's almost like I felt like I was listening to the sounds of the beach, people on the beach, and I was floating in the middle of the water quite far away. And that can be symbolic of you being sort of present and aware, but not necessarily taking on board what's going on around you. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Certainly not. It felt very relaxing, like you're almost disconnected from the details, disconnected from the immediate impact of the energy around you. So whether that's within your relationships, whether that's within your workplace, your family, whatever the case may be, Libra, you are very relaxed and just turning your face to the sun. Now, I also suddenly had this experience where someone came up out of nowhere, but you were delighted, you were shocked, but not expecting it, okay? So that was the key energy. But they've come up out of nowhere. So take that however it resonates. Maybe you'll practically get some news. Maybe you'll randomly hear from someone, or someone will say to you, hey, Libra, I've been trying to tell you, but you weren't really listening. It's almost like it came with this energy that you'd already, like they were there that whole time. So maybe in that sort of muffled way in which you were tuning out the environment around you, that message, that person or that thing was already around, but you hadn't quite connected into it. So if I was sort of tuning into a frequency, it suddenly becomes clear because it's right there. They popped up. But you were giggling, you were laughing about it, like, oh, sorry, I didn't realize. So maybe in the last 2 weeks, many Librans have found themselves in conversations where family and friends are like, you seem really disconnected, what's going on? Or, you know, I already told you that, did you not listen? Whatever the case may be, Libra, something has existed and it's been there all along, or it was there for a while at the least, okay? And I felt that you also felt like you had to backtrack a little bit, go back, like it's like, wait, tell me again? It was sort of like that energy. Or wait, how did I miss that? Let's go back. Going back and relearning something, redoing something, rehearing something, okay, is significant for many of the Librans that I'm connecting into. But you get through this time. Like I do see in a very big way, many Librans want to disconnect from the fray, want to disconnect from the collective energy, want to disconnect from the chaos. Make no mistake, guys, there's planetary retrograde energy, there's ecliptical energy around us. There's people are absorbing those energies in one way or another and releasing in one way or another. It's very easy to remain detached. It's very easy to understand why empaths would want to remain detached from it all. I do see you guys enjoying a lot of that time to yourself or going within in one way or another. But I just wanted to give you the heads up that I think something on the practical level is going to ask and seek your attention for you to address it in one way or another. Doesn't feel too drastic, but it's almost like it takes you away from your little bubble of peace is what I do want to say. But that's what I got for you as far as a vision. I've put some tarot cards out. We can see what wants to come out there. I'm going to pull a soul card for you to see an overall theme, to see what many of the Librans that I'm connecting into have been processing in the last 2 weeks, or the first 2 weeks of July, I should be saying. I do see here you've got some recognition of things that were hidden and unseen that have showed up for you. Blame. Worry. Okay. Maybe as a way to escape the energy of worry, stress, and anxiety, there was this deeper desire for peace. Hence the vision I was getting of you guys floating on a raft in the middle of, on top of your emotions. So it was a big body of water. Take that however it resonates, Libra. Maybe you were addressing a lot of emotional stuff by looking at it from the surface. You know, it's not until we're on top of our emotions, on top of the emotions that used to get to us. It wasn't like you were caught in waves. It wasn't like you were caught swimming around, you know, you were floating on a raft, really relaxed. So take that symbolism however it resonates. But that relaxation under the sun, turning your face to the sun, sitting on top of this water on a raft, you know, with your face turned to the sun, there was this deeper subconscious stuff underneath you, this whole body of water underneath you, the sounds, the muffled sounds of everything and everyone around you in the far distance. You were just enjoying this peace. Maybe you needed that. Maybe the first 2 weeks of July was about you really getting to the center of Soul Temple in one way or another to escape the energy of worry, the chaos around you, any anxieties that you have had, any worries you have had that remain unanswered, you know. As many of us know, we can sit there and worry, but it doesn't really change anything until those practical solutions sort of show up, or we choose to sort of navigate that journey in one way or another. Maybe many Librans I'm connecting into have been dealing with the energy of blame, and this might also be that energy I picked up in the vision where suddenly someone out of nowhere pops up that was there all along. Maybe many Librans have been blamed for not really being a part of the circle in the first 2 weeks. You've been disconnected, Libra. I feel like you haven't really been here in this connection. I want to have these conversations. I just don't feel connected to you because you seem disconnected. What's going on? You know, take that however it resonates. Maybe that body of water you were sitting on was really about healing this energy of blame, whether that applies to your past, whether it applies to your story, feeling blamed, blaming others, whatever the case may be, take it however it resonates. Accepting responsibility for our own well-being is everything, because we have no one and nothing to blame, not our jobs, not the connections in our life. It is up to us to choose to face the sun and take that time out for self. And maybe that's what this is all been about, recharging this beautiful solar plexus energy, moving away from worry and stress to really upgrade our relationship and connection to our intuition, which is that third eye color chakra there. Okay? But let's see what tarot has said for you. There's been some recognition about the many ways in which your thoughts haven't served your greater good, Libra. Okay, there's been some recognition here, needing to feel recognized. Maybe there are others in your life that are wanting your recognition, not feeling connected because they feel alone in their stresses. Maybe as an empath, that is you actually handing over a responsibility, not tuning into the frequencies and the chaos that's around you, really choosing to be solo, because every time you do connect into that as an empath, it leaves you feeling like this because you recognize that you take on board everyone else's energies. Okay, our thoughts can be powerful, but once they reach the Nine of Swords, Libra, we know that there's an imbalance that needs to be balanced. I'm connecting into many Librans that have taken that first 2 weeks of July to really heal energies connecting into their well-being, energies connected into the worry and stress around them, whether that's being perpetuated by others, whether it's being perpetuated by life. You know, the everyday can be a grind and quite the battlefield for an empath that we do need to consciously check out in many ways. There's recognition here about how fruitless worrying truly is, and how it can get to a point that it really does affect the way in which we sleep, connect, or whatever the case may be. All right, interpret that however it applies. Underneath all this is that energy that I was picking up on, you know, that I said it suddenly comes up out of nowhere. Maybe Librans do get some random messages. There's news coming in, okay? But you're not quite sure how best to take that next action step. I feel in many ways there's a balancing that's required. There's like the Six of Coins is in the past. Like this is that going back. I felt like you had to go back. Can you tell me again? Can you say that again? Whatever the case may be, there's a recognition of a balancing that has to happen here. So in very many ways, I could look at these cards and say maybe many Librans haven't been fulfilling their old energetic roles within your families, within your relationships, the way in which you used to. Because to me, this is almost like someone saying, you haven't recognized my need. You didn't recognize what I told you, Libra. Remember I told you this. Whatever the case may be, I feel like there's a healing here, like a balancing of where you used to unconsciously just give anyway. And some people have noticed where you've stopped giving, is what I do want to say. And we can do that with our loved ones. We can do that energetically, Libra. And it doesn't have to be a hectic energy. It can be just like, yeah, sometimes I too need to be on my own and just to take care of self and not have to take care of everyone else, because I've always done that, you know. But there's messages here, but I feel like you're not budging, okay? There's almost like messages coming in, but you're not budging. There's a need to hold on to a stand, a belief, a position, or no, I'm still taking my time out on my little raft. I'll get to you when I get to you, whatever the case may be. There's also going to perhaps be some messages incoming, a lot of online communication in the realms of making a practical beginning, okay? Or no longer responding to, there's two different ways in which to interpret these cards, okay? Maybe there's a practical new beginning, there's communications around that for many Librans I'm connecting into. But this is also about control energy. A lot of communications coming in, perhaps from a controlling personality or a personality from the past that used to control you, that you're no longer responding to in the same way. And it causes you to look back. It causes you to recognize the way in which that energy used to really affect you. Like on that raft, on that water, there was muffled sounds and it could even be considered noisy if I really tuned into it. But the more I tuned it out, I felt so much more at peace, just being aware that it exists in my environment. But I was consciously choosing just to focus on the sun and how the gentle rocking of the waves underneath this little raft was making me feel. And maybe that's what this is, this recognition of how I can choose to connect into what energy controls me or not. All right, I looked at these two cards and I suddenly saw someone getting messages that I'm not responding to in the same way. Okay, take that however it resonates. But I do see many Librans are wanting to eventually make a start. You're not quite sure how best to, okay? You're probably still in this relaxation, this healing mode, this tuning out the influences of others so that you can make a practical start is what I do want to say. I do see here in many ways the last 2 weeks of July has been a navigation process of just trusting in the energy of faith unfolding, okay? Like I'm uncertain, I haven't got the clear picture. When I'm underneath the moonlight, it's quite dark and I'm relying solely on my intuition. There's something here that you weren't quite aware of which suddenly pops up that I feel in many ways you are going to have to make a head and heart decision on, but you will also have to be firm with your boundaries, which is that energy I got when you were relaxing, you're on a raft and something come up out of nowhere that you knew it was there all along, I guess, in many ways, but not. And so it backtracks you, it brings you back. That may be symbolic, Libra, of you backtracking in behaviors, backtracking in old ways of thinking, old ways of letting people control the way you spend your time to heal, all right? I do want to say that. That's relevant for one Libra out there. This could be a head and heart decision where you really, look, there's a divine counterpart here, guys. There's a head and heart decision where you really need to come into your highest element here, guys, okay? The Queen and King of Swords is you. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, okay? It's the masculine energy that we choose to act on. It's the feminine energy we choose to take in and nurture, okay, about how we do not let our boundaries get crossed. And more importantly, we say so when we need to. I feel like that thing popping up out of nowhere that was there all along. It's almost like a test from the universe for you to, do I scurry back to shore and action this thing that I should do because they've said so? Because it feels like an old energy to me, Libra. So take that however it resonates. Maybe the first 2 weeks of July were a testing for you where something from the past popped up in one way or another. We are in retrograde season. The past does like to show face. And it was a test for you to really display your ability to step into your highest element, your highest power, as the Queen of Swords, as the King of Swords, where you've been able to put down a boundary and say, I'm still relaxing, I'm still doing I'm doing things my way. I'm doing things differently now. I'm not going to respond or react in the same way I would have, because if I do, I've recognized, okay, the Six of Wands is a recognition card. I've recognized where that leads me. Also, guys, the Six of Wands is people that seek recognition, and sometimes people seek recognition in bad behaviors. I'm picking up on a specific frequency here for Librans that have connected into old energy that has come up out of nowhere, that required you to step into your highest power, which ultimately, saying no is also tough love. It is divine love. Putting down boundaries shows others that they too are safe to put their boundaries down. Like, you really were floating on top of this water. Hey, your emotions weren't getting affected. It was crystal clear under the sunlight, like you were quite warmed by the sun. And this, can you imagine yourself floating on a raft or whatever the case may be? It's quite relaxing, and then suddenly something comes up out of nowhere, out of the water, to disturb the peace. It was like that. It's a test from the universe in one way or another, Libra. But like I said, there's a new way in which to be self, experience self. There's a new way in which to bring harmonic balance internally so that you can bring harmonic balance externally in all your relationships and connections and experiences. There's a slow and steady energy here. Maybe there's been a slow and steady healing energy that's been taking place for many of the Librans I'm connecting into. You're becoming more aware of it in this first 2 weeks of July. But more importantly, you've identified what you want to commit to moving forward. And commitment can tie into how we want to respond, how we want to communicate, who we're going to allow into our little peace bubble. Because that's exactly what it felt like. It felt like this little soul journey that you were taking on this raft that was just your peace bubble, and you're very conscious of where you're going to put boundary lines down with and where that, whenever they would show face, whenever they would come up. Maybe you're connecting into an earth sign, maybe you're connecting into a Gemini, okay? So take that however it resonates. There's a balancing here after a time of assessment, Libra. Underneath everything is the Seven of Coins, really crunching numbers, dotting I's, crossing T's about my journey. And in many ways, I feel like this has been a journey with healing your relationship with your consciousness, healing your relationship with the way in which your worries have been attributed to others. The way in which you used to attribute your worries to others or the circumstances in your life. But ultimately, it is about taking responsibility for that engagement, for that choice to engage in that. The minute that pops up, okay, I'm going to react. I'm going to tie myself into that energy, because that was the distinct message I was getting, is that I could hear the noise around me, but it was muffled. It was almost like you had tuned it out. You have discovered a way in which to really disconnect from energies that are around you, so they no longer influence you in a way that ultimately leads to, your own detriment, is what I want to say. Because when we're standing in this energy, make no mistake, you've really come to a strong understanding of the importance of boundaries, Libra. You've got 2 sevens now. There's spiritual principles here, okay? There's been spiritual principles at play after a time of bringing everything down. Maybe life brought you a tower moment. Maybe something had to end. Maybe this tower moment is an ascension experience, okay? This lightning with sudden realizations about how I've lived my whole life, and I've built this great big structure of self, beliefs, emotions, everything based on a foundation that was given to me. And I've decided to tear all this down and really start again in one way or another. Watch what you can achieve and make manifest and see come into your life by the 3rd week of July is what I'm called to say here. This might tie into a relationship you have with the most important man in your life, or a significant male figure, male or female. This is about you becoming the emperor of your own kingdom and not reacting to the influences of others, is what I keep hearing, Libra. Really building your kingdom from the ground up in a way that suits you. Sometimes things have to fall. Sometimes structures have to fall. The healing journey is ever ongoing. It teaches us a lot. What numbers am I looking at? A couple of 6s, okay, which was requiring harmonic balancing. You've got the divine counterparts in your suit, okay? This is about you meeting yourself. Maybe this is pertaining to a marriage, connection, Your marriage to yourself is what I do want to say, okay? This is about divine union. This is about spiritual principles, about putting down boundaries and really assessing how far you have come in your journey, in this relationship, in your healing journey, in your career path, whatever the case may be, your relationship to your thoughts, and really recognizing how they nurture you or not. And how you navigate your path comfortably with the full faith that your intuition will guide the way and ultimately leads to a higher form of consciousness. You know, Libra, we have our mind, we have our heart, and we have our intuition. And when all three are used in tandem, success. Releasing doubts and regrets and guilt so that everything can be brought into balance. That journey on the raft was significant for a lot of the Librans that I'm connecting into. It teaches you a new way in which to observe, experience your emotions, the way in which you connect into your environment and the relationships around you, the past, present, or how you choose to moving forward, most importantly, Libra. I want to finish off with a healing message from the Whispers of Healing Oracle deck to close off as a final message for the first fortnight of July for my lovely Librans. That one there. Barriers. See? Boundaries, barriers, knowing your energetic boundaries so that it's not touched and influenced. Again, look how high she is. She's above everything. It's card number 13. Maybe the number 13 is relevant to you 13 months ago, years ago, when you were 13. Take it however it resonates. This is about successfully identifying barriers. Where do I end and another begins? What boundaries and barriers do I need to create? How have I been a barrier to my growth and success? How have I allowed others to be barriers? All right, maybe the full moon, the Capricorn full moon recently at the beginning of July was significant for you to really fly above, sit above. You know, you were sitting above the water. You were floating above emotion. So take that however it resonates, my lovely Libra. Okay? That has been your message for the first fortnight of July. Please do go ahead and check out the Instagram page. The description box has a link. Where you're going to see your quick read every week. This week's is already up. And of course, your July reading is already on the channel. I hope you got something out of that, Libra. If so, please do like, share, comment. Let your other empath, sensitive, and intuitive friends know where to find the channel. Have a beautiful rest of July. Check the channel again for your next fortnightly reading. Enjoy.